Coming up on WFT Midday, the community comes together to support students, faculty, and staff. After shooting at Florida State University, we take you to Tallahassee.
In Washington, two vital federal programs that serve millions of low-income Americans are now at risk of being defunded, according to a new budget proposal from the Trump administration.
Easter weekend's approaching. We tell you what people are doing locally to celebrate. WFT Midday starts now.
You're watching WUFT Midday.
It was a normal day on campus until gunfire shattered the peace at Florida State University. 2 people are dead, several others hurt, and a community is shaken.
Students, clergy, and doctors rushed to help as the chaos unfolded. CNN's Amy Kiley tells the moments that turned deadly and the people who stepped up.
He let off a shot kind of in our direction.
Witnesses recount terror and disbelief during a deadly shooting rampage at Florida State University yesterday.
A dangerous or life-threatening situation exists.
2 people are dead and several are wounded as a result of that violence. One student says she was walking across the green near the Student Union building when she saw a man standing near an orange Hummer. She says he fired a gun in her general direction and then pulled a smaller firearm out of the vehicle. She recalls he was scowling but calm and says he shot a woman wearing purple scrubs in the back.
That's when I realized there was no target and that it was anybody he could see, and I took off.
The witness says she heard repeated gunshots behind her as she ran to her apartment.
It still honestly hasn't really settled that those guns were real and people died.
Another student says he was in a nearby classroom and helped barricade this door. A priest says he helped people shelter in a nearby church building. He says he later went out to minister to any victims and saw a body.
I had the realization that, even if this isn't my kid, this is somebody's kid.
A local doctor says he took part in surgeries for the injured. He says he's an FSU graduate, and though he's seen his share of trauma.
A mass event like this that's, right outside at our own university really hits close to home.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A federal judge stopped a plan to let government agencies see Social Security records. The ruling adds to earlier limits on how much private info the Department of Government Efficiency can get. The court says the Trump administration didn't clearly say why it needs that much personal data. Some worry the move could hurt people's privacy and open the door for more data grabs later. The decision will likely be challenged and could end up in a higher court.
The U.S. military hit Yemen's oil port, part of its campaign against Houthi funding and weapons roads. Officials say at least 20 people were killed and dozens more were hurt in the strikes. Officials say all the dead were workers and blame the U.S. for what they call a dangerous escalation. Washington says the goal was to weaken power, not hurt civilians, by cutting off the illegal revenue from the port. The attack follows months of Houthi assaults on Red Sea shipping and growing U.S. pressure to stop them.
Vice President J.D. Vance is in Rome for trade talks with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The discussions focused on resolving tariff tensions between the U.S. and the European Union. Vance is also scheduled to meet with Vatican officials during his visit. His trip follows recent tensions with Pope Francis over U.S. immigration policies. The visit underscores Vance's growing role in international diplomacy on behalf of the White House.
The U.S. plans to start charging new fees on Chinese-built and Chinese-owned ships docking at American ports. Fees will be based on a ship's weight or how much cargo it's carrying when it arrives. They are set to begin in about 6 months and will roll out gradually in phases. Officials say the charges could rise over time as part of a broader trade strategy. The Trump administration says the goal is to rebuild U.S. shipyards and compete with China's growing shipping industry.
Thursday morning, temperatures were the coldest of the month in the middle 40s.
But the temperatures are warming up. This morning, it was about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. WUFT's Nicole Borman joins us now with more about the return of summer-like warmth.
That's right, guys. Yesterday, those lows were in the 40s, but for right now, today, earlier this morning, we were seeing the lows only in the 50s all over north central Florida. What a nice morning to go out, just enjoy that cold for a little bit. As for right now, that temperature has picked up almost into those 80s, and look at the sky outside, not a cloud in sight over Century Tower or over the stadium. Winds at around 6 miles per hour. Nice breeze outside, great way to start your day. But later on into today, those temperatures are going to continue to increase up into those mid-80s, might even go into the 90s, and lower on into the afternoon, we're going to be seeing as those temperatures continue to decrease going into tonight. Later on into the show, I'm going to be telling you more about this development and what it's going to mean here at Florida and what your Easter weekend can look like.
Two key federal programs that help millions of low-income Americans are in jeopardy. WFT's Matthew Montalto joins us live in the studio to tell us about one early education program that is at risk.
The Trump administration wants to end funding for Head Start and the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, known as LIHEAP. That's according to a draft of President Donald Trump's budget proposal for the upcoming fiscal year. Head Start provides early education and other services for nearly 800,000 kids. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program assists about 6 million households with their utility bill. The move to eliminate the funding for two programs is a part of the proposed plan to slash roughly a third of the discretionary federal health budget, eliminate dozens of programs, and greatly shrink health agencies. President Trump does not have the power to defund the programs on his own. He must have the approval of Congress. Live in the studio, Matthew Montalto, WUFT News.
Christians around the world mark Good Friday by attending church services and remembering the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Today is part of Holy Week and leads up to Easter Sunday, which celebrates the resurrection of Jesus. Many Christians fast or avoid eating meat on Good Friday as part of their religious tradition. Good Friday is a solemn day, often observed with prayer, silence, and reflection in many Christian communities. While it's a major religious observance, most businesses and government offices stay open in the U.S. If you're still looking for Easter plans, here are some Easter events for the whole family to enjoy. Amberbrook Farms is hosting an Easter celebration filled with egg hunts, Easter bunny photos, and food trucks. The festivities start at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Tickets are available online and in person. The city of Alachua is hosting an Easter egg hunt. The event is free and starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And Jenny Springs is hosting an egg hunt on the land and in the water. You can purchase a day pass to participate, and the hunt will kick off at 8 a.m. Sunday.
Heads up Gainesville, it's hands-free school zone. Enforcement detail today. Officers were out watching for drivers using cell phones in school zones, reminding people to put the phone down and keep our kids safe. Fortress Investment Group acquired the village at Gainesville from Santa Fe Healthcare. The deal transitions the community to for-profit status. Residents were informed in September about the potential sale. The management team will remain in place under the new ownership. Fortress plans to invest in improvements and expansions. The sale is expected to close by the end of the year or early 2025.
In a 3-2 vote Tuesday, the Alachua County School Board ended Rawlings Elementary year-round school program. The decision would mean that students would no longer attend school in the summer. The decision followed a presentation showing a 20% drop in enrollment and low academic projections for 2025 exams. Board member Tina Certain made the motion, citing lack of improvement and poor planning from the start. Nearly half of Rawlings teachers are in their first year, raising concerns about experience in struggling schools. Surveys show just 38% of responding families support the year-round model, with many indifferent or opposed. 2 board members dissented, arguing the program needed more time and stronger staff support to succeed. Sunny skies are overhead today and the heat is rising. It's a holiday weekend and Nicole Borman is tracking the temperatures we can expect for this Easter Sunday.
That's right, guys. This weekend is going to be looking beautiful, but as for right now, those temperatures are already starting to look nice. We're seeing those 80s, but it's going to pick up almost into those 90s later into this afternoon. But for right now, we're seeing those 80s across the state of north central Florida. We're seeing 79 in Gainesville, 81 in Ocala, 78 in Lake City, and we're seeing those 70s over here too, but even by the Gulf Coast, we're still seeing some pretty nice warm weather. But later on into the day, we're going to see that temperature continues to increase. Over here, we're seeing that 89 into the afternoon for us, but it's going to take a slight dip into our night, into those 70s and into those upper 60s. But later into the night, when it's cooler, when it's darker outside. But this afternoon, we're going to be seeing those 90s across the state, except for over here on the coast over here, since they're next to the weather. Nice temperatures there. But on to Saturday morning, we're going to be seeing those 70 or those 50s again. Those lows are looking really nice into those upper 50s, almost into those 60s. And we're going to see the warmer temperature over here at the coast. Who would have thought? But later on into today, we're going to be seeing those nicer temperatures, which right now we can already feel. Look at that. No clear skies over Century Tower and over the stadium. 79 right now in Gainesville with the light breeze coming in from the east, but there is a development going on right now in the center of the state. We're seeing this right here going on to the center of the state. It's going to continue to push into the east. Now we can see right here as this low pressure system is going to be pulling those clouds closer near us, but for the most part over the weekend, this development is going to be staying right where it kind of is right now. We're going to be seeing 70-mile-per-hour winds and golf ball sized hail in that area. Now let's take a look at how that's going to track out for the rest of the day or for the rest of our weekend going into next week. You're going to see as it continues to pull over us, really not touching Florida for the most part, maybe a little bit over there on the panhandle, but as it continues to push through Monday and through Tuesday, we're not getting any of that rain. But going into Wednesday towards Thursday afternoon and Thursday morning, we're seeing as we get a little bit of that rain right here, but not too much to get anything worried about, and it's going to continue to pass right over us going into Thursday night, and by Friday, temperature is looking really nice, but that temperature does come with that humidity, and we're seeing as our mugginess continues to stay into that humid area, which isn't anything foreign to us here in Florida. But for your Easter weekend, we're seeing beautiful temperatures right now for the 90s, perfect temperature to go out for an Easter egg hunt. And for your 7-day forecast, we're seeing as that temperature continues to keep going up into those 90s for next week, with the low staying in those 60s.
Now let's check in with Noticias WFT for a look at today's top stories in Spanish.
Hola, soy Marina Meretz con tus noticias en 90 segundos. 2 muertos y al menos 6 heridos en un tiroteo que ocurrió ayer en la Universidad Estatal de Florida. El sospechoso ha sido identificado. Phoenix Eichner, de 20 años, hijo de un ayudante del sheriff, ha sido identificado como el autor de los disparos y se dice que abrió fuego con la antigua arma reglamentaria de su madre. El suceso tuvo lugar justo afuera de la Unión de Estudiantes, donde alumnos y profesores tuvieron que trancar las puertas y estar en aislamiento. Los agentes llegaron rápidamente y pudieron detener al tirador. Hasta esta mañana, el campus se ha llenado de flores y velas para conmemorar la tragedia. El senador Chris Van Hollen de Maryland se reunió con Gilmar Abrego García en El Salvador. Gilmar Abrego García fue deportado por acusaciones de tener vínculos con la pandilla MS-13 por error. A pesar de un orden judicial que bloqueó su expulsión, el presidente Donald Trump dijo que no tenía base para devolverlo a los Estados Unidos. Incluso, el gobierno ha calificado su deportación como un error. La Corte Suprema de Estados Unidos ha pedido a la administración que facilite su regreso. Se ha reestabilizado la electricidad en Puerto Rico después de casi 48 horas en el apagón. Error de una línea de transmisión causó el apagón, pero no se sabe si una serie de rompientes fallaron o si el aumento de la vegetación es la causa de culpabilidad. El apagón dejó más que 400,000 personas sin agua, pero acorde de un informe de esta mañana, Luma Energía ha restablecido el 99% de la electricidad a sus clientes. Este es el segundo apagón masivo reciente que golpea a Puerto Rico en menos de 4 meses. Estas fueron tus noticias en 90 segundos. Gracias por sintonizarnos.
Inflammatory bowel disease affects millions of Americans, and experts say cases are on the rise. The chronic condition can seriously impact quality of life, but many people don't even realize they have it. Knowing the warning signs can make all the difference. In today's Health Minute, the University of British Columbia and Mayo Clinic explains what to watch for and when to see a doctor.
It's a disease that sparks the body's immune system to attack healthy cells in the intestines. While the cause of inflammatory bowel disease isn't fully known, it's believed to be the result of both genetic and environmental factors.
As of today, it's still what we would call an incurable disease.
Gastroenterologist Dr. Bill Fabian with Mayo Clinic says warning signs include diarrhea, bloody stools, abdominal cramping, pain while eating, unintentional weight loss, low-grade fevers, fatigue, and joint pain.
Loose stools more than 3 times a day. And if you have diarrhea for longer than probably 2 weeks, you probably should go talk to your doctor.
While inflammatory bowel disease is a group of lifelong diseases, the main types are Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, which affects only the colon and rectum.
Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis are slightly different in that Crohn's disease can affect anywhere from the mouth all the way down to the anus.
Diet doesn't cause the condition itself, but some foods like those that are high in fat or ultra-processed can trigger symptoms. Fabian says there are also a number of therapies, including emerging ones, that can bring symptom relief.
We've never had as many options for a newly diagnosed patient with inflammatory bowel disease now as we ever have.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission has issued a recall for Joydeco roller window shades. The agency warns that the lengthy operating cords can pose serious risk to children, potentially leading to injuries or death. Approximately 73,000 shades sold exclusively on Amazon are affected by this recall. These shades were sold between September 2021 and September 2024, and customers are urged to act quickly. No injuries have been reported, but consumers should store cords away from children and contact Joydeco for a refund.
Now let's get over to WFT First at 5 anchor Mar Roaches with a look at what's coming up on First at 5 on Channel 5.
We're following up on a few stories for you tonight on First at 5. First, our crews were out in Tallahassee with more on how students were impacted by the shooting. Then hurricane preparedness comes early after a busy season last year. And more commotion outside Representative Kat Kamek's office. All that and more at 5.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Well, guys, Easter's coming up this weekend, and the weather outside is going to be looking really nice. Look at that. We're seeing those upper 80s and 90s throughout the week, with those lows being in the 60s. You know, last week we were seeing, or even earlier on this week, we were seeing the lows being in those 40s. So it's a nice pickup from that going into this week. You know, it's almost summertime, and it's really starting to feel like it right now. We could be experiencing some rain going in on Wednesday here in Gainesville, and maybe also in Jacksonville. But other than that, the temperature's gonna be looking really clear. The clouds are gonna be pretty nice, and you know, it's gonna be really, really nice outside for all of us. And you know, if anyone's considering doing an Easter egg hunt, you know, I would surely love to participate in one. That could be really nice for this type of weather outside. Some sunscreen would definitely also be essential. Don't get any sunburns out there while you're there, but a nice tan would be great going into the summertime with whatever vacation you guys are going on. You guys going on vacation this summertime?
Yeah, I am. But what is your plan for Easter Sunday? Did
Oh,
you see everything that I said? That there's
honestly,
so many things to do.
For Easter Sunday, there's so many things going on. I actually have a final project. You know, being a student here at the University of Florida, that semester's timing up right now. So Easter plans aren't really on my agenda, but are they on your guys' agenda this week?
I think I'm going to go to Ginny Springs. After seeing that, I think I have to
That
go.
seems really
It sounds really cool. I actually am really excited for summer, and I want to, you know, get those really cool temperatures and, you know, enjoy summer.
I totally agree.
Yeah, it's going to be so warm.
It
so warm
is.
this weekend. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be tanning. And yeah, celebrating the holiday.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and it's our last show, so we're making the best of it.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks for joining us for WFT Midday. We're back here next week for another edition.
We will see you later today for First at 5 on Channel 5. Have a great afternoon.